I am Glenn Anderson. I am doing my presentation on cyberbullying on the topic brief that I wrote in 6740 School Law. Bullying itself is the intent to hurt a victim through aggressive behavior, repeatedly showing the aggressive behavior, and it has an imbalance of power. Now, cyber is the use of a computer, and these two put together is bullying using a computer or a computer network or bullying in a virtual reality, which is an interesting thing because many users of the internet perceive that personal exchanges or exchanges between two people are private conversations and have no idea or are unaware of how visible their profiles, their conversations, their information is to the public. Let me tell you, there are two elements to cyberbullying or bullying. There's the direct version, and then there's indirect cyberbullying, which is where the perpetrator does not directly communicate with the victim, but, and this is what we're going to talk a little bit about, is the direct versus the indirect. So let's look at each of these aspects of bullying using the direct and the indirect element. First one we're going to talk about is aggressive behavior. Direct cyberbullying would be that you're sending information to that person. It identifies the name, it identifies the threat, it tells what they're going to do, how they feel to the victim, and that creates the imbalance of power, which it could be embarrassing information, could be anything like that. Indirect cyberbullying is a little more difficult to identify, but one way that they can identify whether they're being aggressive or not is the information that they are texting to other people or posting online, does it identify the person by name that is the victim or any identifying information about that person? And that could show the aggressive behavior, and that is the importance with finding out whether it's aggressive behavior or not, is intention. The next thing we're going to talk about is, does it happen repeatedly? With direct cyberbullying, it's kind of easy because you can find out how many times the person has text messaged, has put it on the victim's social network, directed to them with their name in it. That is direct cyberbullying. Indirect cyberbullying is a little bit different because it is, if you post one thing, that one thing could be viewed by many, many people. So that in itself is repeatedly getting information to other people. And that's where cyberbullying is very interesting because the perpetrator could post one thing on a website or on Facebook or MySpace or another social network and post it once, but it is seen by everybody. And that is where the repeated action comes in. Gives the other people the opportunity to see that information and forward it or do something where other people can see it. And then the last one we're going to talk about is this imbalance of power. And direct cyberbullying is access to embarrassing information that they use against the individual, the victim, directly. They use popularity to control or harm the person directly. And the victim is unable to defend themselves. So they really can't control how it's going. But the imbalance of power is got to place the victim in a position where he or she cannot easily defend him or herself. And that's where indirect cyberbullying is the most common because it puts information out there, but the victim cannot control that information because they cannot pull it down. They cannot get rid of it. The person that posts it is the only one that can actually get rid of that. The problem with the internet access nowadays is that anonymity on the internet creates this equalizer opportunity to empower anybody who would never bully in real life to assert themselves with an aggressive act. So they could say something, but not worry about repercussions because they can almost be anonymous. Not always, but the anonymity really makes it possible for the average person, male or female, who would not normally bully to say something online and spread it to anybody and everybody. And that's the imbalance of power right there. And it's kind of sad because of that. Because once things are on the internet, it's hard to get them off of there. It's hard that once that information is out there, you can't just pull it back. It's not within just our little circle of friends. It is out on the internet for anybody and everybody that wants to or can get to it to see, to forward, to do anything like that. And there is our problem with the imbalance of power. This is interesting. The reporting is that according to DoSomething.org, which monitors cyberbullying and bullying and other things like that, they say in their survey that they've done that 1 in 10 victims will inform parents or a trusted adult of the abuse that they're seeing or that they're getting on the internet. There's kind of a code of secrecy between kids that they don't want to snitch. They don't want to be a tattletale. They don't want to get other people in trouble, or they don't want to get themselves in trouble. They're afraid that somebody's going to do something or say something even more and get it even worse. The victims often get punished in this situation of cyberbullying because as a parent, parents will say, well, let's just get rid of the phone. Let's just get rid of the Facebook. Let's get rid of this or that. But they can't contact their friends anymore. They can't be social where that's their social life. We got to teach kids how to report without getting themselves punished. Now, the numbers are very interesting. 78% of teens have a cell phone. 48% of those have their own smartphone that they use with internet access. And I felt this was very interesting that 1 in 4 teens are cell mostly internet users. That means they use their cell phone for the internet, not a computer, not another device. It's their cell phone. 80% of teens using the internet use social media sites like Facebook, like MySpace. And that's where the cyberbullying can become a problem, is they have such heavy access, and we've got to monitor and train on how to use this information. Now, there are no federal laws, and so they let the states do their own laws. 49 states require schools to have a policy about cyberbullying. If it causes problems in the school, then it becomes a school problem. And so there are a lot of policies in schools about cyberbullying that can be used against students. So what do? Teaching them about cyberbullying and how dangerous it can be, how information on the internet is not personal. It gets out to anybody and everybody. We also need to teach students how to report. Education for parents. We have this technology, and students are growing up with the technology, but they need to be trained how to use it wisely. And that is my thought on cyberbullying education. We need to have more of it. So I'd like to thank you for watching this. Hopefully you learned something from my topic brief here on cyberbullying. And thank you very much. Have a good night.